Before you keep scrolling, answer this. Which unlikely room in her house did Shania Twain turn into a vocal training studio during her comeback? And how about this one? What treats does Shania keep by her front door to spoil her horses? Put your brain to work and your guess in the comments. I'll reveal all soon. But before we get to the answer, welcome to The Versed Music Legends. I'm Dick Carlson. Stay tuned to see how Shania balances a dazzling Vegas life with peaceful mornings in the Swiss countryside, and how the powerful pep talk from an iconic music legend helped her conquer her crippling stage fright. But to truly understand Shania Twain, we need to go back to where it all began, because her early years hold pivotal moments you'll never believe. Born in the crisp air of 1965, Windsor, Ontario, Eileen Regina Edwards, soon to be known to the world as Shania Twain, grew up far from the bright lights she would one day command. The 1970s in rural Timmins, Ontario, were a landscape marked by harsh winters, worn-down homes, and a scarcity that clung to the edges of everyday life. Her family's modest home reflected a hard truth. Hunger and financial struggle were constant companions. Yet, amidst these tough conditions, music was the flicker of warmth that would shape her future. As a child, Shania's days were a blend of rugged chores and quiet moments with a guitar. Before fame, she found solace sitting by campfires in remote logging camps, writing songs inspired by the natural world and the complexity of her home life. Even in those early years, music was more than a hobby. It was a lifeline. By age 8, she was already performing late-night gigs in local bars, singing for tips that barely covered gas money but kept her family's hopes alive. Those bar rooms were a strange school of hard knocks. Late nights surrounded by drunken patrons, a place no child should be, yet one that forged her stage presence and resilience. Her personal world was shadowed by challenges few could imagine. Home was often turbulent, with domestic violence and abuse shaping her childhood in ways she would carry into adulthood. Despite this, Shania developed a habit of emotional discipline and perfectionism, channeling her pain into productivity and craft. She famously paid for vocal lessons in Toronto by cleaning her coach's house, a humble bargain reflecting her relentless dedication. This rigorous practice, alongside relentless gigging with cover bands and local tours, was the foundation of a mastery built in the most unglamorous conditions. Shania's early life was also marked by profound relationships that would shape her path. A key mentor, Mary Bailey, took her under her wing, offering not only guidance but a home where Shania could hone her craft away from chaos. Another figure, DJ Stan Campbell, recognized her powerful voice and ambition, giving her essential studio experience that opened doors in Nashville. These connections, forged in unlikely places, set the stage for her first breakthrough, her self-titled debut album in 1993. Yet it wasn't just about the music. Even before superstardom, Shania exhibited a meticulous side rarely seen. Her early days of practicing for hours, writing songs as therapy, and navigating a world far from luxury would come full circle in surprising ways. But the fire kindled in those early years would soon ignite a journey no one saw coming. Shania Twain's first big break came in 1993 with the release of her self-titled debut album, a modest start that introduced her voice but didn't yet set the world on fire. What changed everything was her partnership with producer and soon-to-be husband Robert "Mutt" Lang, whose rock pedigree blended with her country roots to create something fresh and irresistible. Their marriage in late 1993 sealed a creative alliance that would redefine country pop music. By 1995, with the release of The Woman in Me, Shania was catapulted into the spotlight. The album sold over 20 million copies worldwide and earned her a Grammy, transforming her from a hard-working singer into a bona fide star. The financial windfall allowed Shania to indulge in new material comforts. She bought her first luxury home, a sprawling estate in Switzerland, offering refuge from the relentless public eye. Yet she remained grounded, famously still practicing her vocals obsessively, a habit from her humble beginnings, demonstrating the relentless mastery beneath the glitz. Her lifestyle began to evolve alongside her rising fame. She embraced fashion as a key part of her image, pioneering the midriff-bearing leopard print look that became iconic. Despite the glam, she maintained personal rituals rooted in simplicity, such as her love of horseback riding, which later became a daily practice balancing the intensity of touring and recording. The demands of success reshaped her relationships, both personal and professional. Mutt Lange's influence extended beyond production into songwriting and artistic direction, but as her career soared, Shania's own voice and vision grew stronger, leading to creative tension and, eventually, personal heartbreak. We'll get into that later. Industry veterans like Mary Bailey and Stan Campbell faded into the background as Shania and Mutt navigated the pressures of global superstardom. Musically, Shania pushed boundaries, refusing to be boxed into traditional country. She honed a crossover sound that married pop hooks with country storytelling, setting new standards for production and performance. This was a period of both artistic validation and mounting pressure, as her relentless touring schedule demanded vocal endurance and perfectionism, habits she cultivated from her earliest days. As mentioned earlier, her intense dedication to craft meant even in lavish hotels on tour, she'd commit to disciplined practice, early signs that would later fuel her remarkable comeback. The foundation of her sustained fame was not just luck, but an ironclad work ethic wrapped in superstar spectacle. The spotlight grew brighter, but with it came shadows that tested everything she'd built. At the peak of her career in the late 90s and early 2000s, Shania Twain was more than a country music star. She was a global phenomenon. Her 1997 album Come On overshadowed records, becoming the best-selling studio album by a female artist worldwide, with over 40 million copies sold. The commercial success brought unprecedented wealth, luxury homes in Switzerland and sprawling estates, designer wardrobes worth hundreds of thousands, and a lifestyle that blended glittering red carpets with private retreats. But behind the dazzling facade, the price of mastery was steep. Touring relentlessly, Shania was performing 165 shows during her Come On Over tour alone, grossing over $70 million. The physical toll was immense. Lyme disease, contracted during an outdoor video shoot, began silently gnawing at her vocal cords. Yet her work ethic didn't waver. If anything, it intensified. The tension between public spectacle and private struggle grew sharper as Shania's control over her art tightened. She meticulously designed every detail of her performances and videos, a perfectionist whose vision extended from songwriting to wardrobe selection. Yet personal life fractures began to surface. Her marriage to Mutt Lange, once a creative powerhouse partnership, began to crumble under the strain of fame and secrecy. The betrayal that would later shatter her spirit was hidden beneath years of polished success. Meanwhile, the constant grind wore down her emotional reserves, forcing her into periods of isolation despite her status. Despite the soaring material success, expensive cars, lavish homes, and a jet-setting lifestyle, Shania longed for moments of normalcy, a paradox that only deepened the emotional pressure. Her introverted nature contrasted with the dazzling persona she portrayed on stage, highlighting the high cost of maintaining the image. Mastery came with sacrifice. Her voice, once effortless and powerful, was becoming fragile, foreshadowing the crisis ahead. The pinnacle revealed cracks that demanded a reckoning beyond fame and fortune. Shania Twain entered a period of profound reinvention, both artistically and personally. The Lyme disease that had ravaged her vocal cords forced her into silence, stripping away the very instrument that had defined her. But rather than surrender, she transformed her comeback into a testament of resilience. She turned to unlikely spaces in her home, her bathroom and closet, converting them into makeshift vocal studios. These humble rooms became sanctuaries of discipline where she spent hours rebuilding her voice, an ironic but inspiring twist beneath the veneer of celebrity glamour. This era also reshaped her relationships and worldview. The betrayal by her husband and best friend plunged her into emotional depths that required healing. Out of that darkness emerged new connections, most notably with Swiss businessman Frédéric Thiebaud, whose steadfast kindness helped restore her faith in love and trust. Shania's second marriage was a quiet, grounded affair, contrasting with the glittering spectacle of her past. It symbolized a shift from public persona to private contentment. Materially, Shania's lifestyle took on new dimensions of balance. She retained her estates in Switzerland, where she immersed herself in gardening, cultivating an array of heritage roses that reflected a calmer, more nurturing side. At the same time, her Las Vegas residency introduced a dual existence, mornings spent tending horses in the desert, an earthy counterpoint to the dazzling stage shows by night. These routines grounded her, illustrating a lifestyle that harmonized extravagance with simplicity. Her mastery of craft evolved as well. With Gladys Knight's tough love pep talk, an emotional climax in her comeback, Shania reclaimed the stage, conquering decades-long stage fright. Her vocal exercises took on the intensity of a boot camp, a far cry from the effortless singing of her youth, but richer in texture and soul. This period was marked not by ease, but by fierce determination, a reinvention rooted in grit rather than glamour. As she rebuilt, Shania redefined what it meant to be an artist on her own terms. The transformation was less about reclaiming past glory and more about embracing a new voice and identity, one shaped by survival, authenticity, and hard-won wisdom. What emerged from the silence was a new voice, wiser and ready to redefine the story. Today, Shania Twain lives a life that balances the extraordinary with the deeply personal. Her days often begin in the Nevada desert, where she rides horses and tends to them with simple rituals, keeping apples and carrots right by her front door so her beloved animals can nuzzle in for treats. This quiet, grounded routine stands in gentle contrast to the high-energy performances she delivers during her Las Vegas residency, a dazzling spectacle that showcases her hard-earned mastery and stagecraft. Her homes reflect this duality too, luxurious estates nestled in the Swiss countryside where she cultivates a vibrant rose garden, a hobby that brings peace and a sense of normalcy away from the spotlight. These personal spaces reveal a woman who cherishes solitude and connection, far removed from the relentless glare of fame. Yet her global presence remains unmistakable, with a net worth buoyed by album sales, tours, and smart business ventures that have cemented her place as one of music's enduring icons. Culturally, Shania's legacy is complex. She is celebrated as a trailblazer who bridged country and pop, empowering generations with anthems of self-confidence and reinvention. Still, some misunderstand the depth behind her image, often seeing only the glitz, unaware of the resilience and personal battles that shaped her voice and artistry. Her journey is a testament to transforming adversity into strength, a narrative both cautionary and inspiring. Despite the fame, Shania's story is quietly intimate. The image of her morning rituals with horses and roses captures the essence of a legend who never lost sight of the simple joys that keep her centered. It's a reminder that behind the global superstar is a woman who found peace by balancing spectacle with soul. Shania Twain's story is one of fierce resilience and dazzling reinvention. What part of her journey resonates with you most? Is there something about her you find complicated? Share your thoughts below. If you're inspired, stay with us and watch the next legend story on screen now.